Hi, guys. It's me, Dr. George, Belinda George, to many of you. And I'm here for another Tucked In Tuesday. So you can go ahead and share it if you're joined in. You can always go back and watch it later. So I am going to be reading from Michael Hague's Read to Me Fairy Tales. We've been reading these series. It's kind of a forgotten genre. We don't talk about it anymore. And so tonight I'll be reading two of the stories from there. And you are not late, Anna Marie. And then I see Jen said, I miss you. And she said, I miss you. And this is Genesis. Yes, Genesis, I miss you too. And then Annalie says, I'm late. You're not. You're right on time. So you are fine. We're just starting. So Thumbelina is the first one. And well, Three Little Pigs and then Thumbelina, actually. And next Tuesday, I will be reading in Hampshire Finette at the intermediate school. I'll be there live and I'll be Lady Liberty. And so I'll be reading a book there. So I'll be there in person. So hello, Ava, Ari, and Pop Pop. Hello, you're just in time. So here's the fairy tale, The Three Little Pigs. One day, three little pigs set out from home to seek their fortunes. Their mother gave each of them some food to eat and a little bit of money. Not far down the road, they came upon a peddler with a cart full of straw. Perfect, said the oldest pig. We can build homes out of straw. And look how cheap. We'll have a lot of money left over. The other pigs weren't so sure. They let their oldest brother buy a bushel of straw from the peddler and continued on their way. So let's see what differences we could find in this story. Next, the two remaining brothers came upon a peddler selling sticks. Hello, Gloria. They were more expensive than the straw, but we'll still have money left over, said the middle pig. We should make our house out of sticks. The youngest pig wasn't so sure. He decided to say goodbye to his brother and continue on his own. The afternoon passed, and the youngest pig walked alone along the path. Finally, he came upon a peddler with a wheelbarrow of bricks. When he asked how much the bricks cost, the pig found that he had just enough money to buy the whole bunch. As the youngest brother was buying his bricks, the oldest brother was finishing building his simple straw house. He was able to relax all evening and go to bed early. As the youngest brother laid his first row of bricks, the middle brother was finishing his house made of sticks. It was hard work, but he finished before sunset and had a good night's sleep. The youngest pig stacked brick upon brick and carefully sealed each with mortar. He worked all night long and finally finished with the morning light. Meanwhile, the oldest brother had a restful night's sleep until suddenly he was woken up by three hard bangs on his door. Little pig, let me in. The oldest pig jumped out of bed and looked through the peephole in his door. It was a wolf. Not by the hair on my chinny chin, he said, that I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. The wolf huffed, puffed, and blew that straw house right over. But there were no pigs to be found. That's because the oldest pig had run quickly as soon as the wolf started huffing and puffing. So there's the wolf. Hi, Ethel. He ran down the road as fast as he could until he found his brother's house made of sticks. Little brother, help, the oldest pig said. His younger brother opened the door. Quick, we need to hide. Soon after they hid out of sight, there was a great big knock on the door. Little pigs, let me in, the wolf said. Not by the hair on our chins, they said. Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down. The wolf huffed and puffed and blew, but nothing happened. He tried again. He puffed and blew, and the house came down. But there was just a pile of sticks and no little pigs. That's because those little pigs had run away while the wolf was huffing and puffing. They ran as fast as their pig legs could carry them all the way to their youngest brother's house. Little brother, help, they said. The little brother let them in. There's a wolf coming, he said. Don't worry, big brothers, you'll be safe here. Soon there was a loud knock at the door. The little pigs cowered out of sight. Little pigs, let me in, the wolf said, smacking his lips. This time they had nowhere to run. Not by the hairs on our chins, they said, the youngest a little more confidently than the other two. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down. So the wolf huffed, and he puffed, and he blew, but nothing happened. He tried again. He huffed, and he puffed, and he blew, but still nothing happened. The wolf was quite out of breath, and his stomach was grumbling. So there we are. He wanted those pigs. Okay, pigs, you win, the wolf said, trying to trick the pigs. He started to walk away, but then tiptoed to the back of the brick house. The youngest pig wasn't fooled. He watched that wolf through the window and figured out what he was up to. Quickly, he said to his brother, start a fire in the fireplace. The older brothers did as they were told. They lit a stack of logs and got a strong fire going. Then the youngest brother filled a big pot with water and put it on the fire. Hi, Alex. Hi, Erica and Alex. Hi, Mabry. Hi, Miss Duke. Hello. Alex, I have something for you. That Coca-Cola gift, remember? I still have it. Still in the room for you. I'll make sure I get it to you. Love you guys. Without hesitation, meanwhile, the little pigs could hear the tap, tap, tap of steps on the roof. The wolf was climbing as carefully as possible to the chimney. He reached the chimney, then leaped in face first down to the boiling water waiting below. Without hesitation, the youngest pig put the lid on the pot, trapping the wolf inside. The three brothers had a feast of wolf stew that night, and the youngest brother promised that tomorrow he'd show his older brothers how to build strong houses made of bricks. So there's that. The Coca-Cola factory gift, that brings back memories. It does. I'll make sure Melvin brings it out before I get off, Ms. Shula. So my takeaway from the three little pigs is sometimes the longer it takes to do something means the better quality it will be. Melvin, would you please look by my clock and get a Coca-Cola bag and just put it right here in the bedroom as a little Coca-Cola bag? Yes, just look by the clock in the bedroom on the floor. Sorry about that, guys. A special past student on here. And so my biggest takeaway from here is sometimes things that take you the longest mean a lot more to you. Take a lot more pride in it. So I would have to say my biggest takeaway is sometimes the younger one knows a little bit better. Just listen to them sometimes. All right, my next one. Did you see it, Melvin? On the floor by the clock, by the grandfather clock. On the floor on the right-hand side of the clock. I did. All right. Sorry about that. Hi, Tanya and the twins. Yeah. So I'm going to stop in between. So look, Miss Shula, look, Alex, the original bag and everything. And it's in there. It's never been opened. There it is. I don't even know what's in there. It says surprise. And it's been in there. I don't know how long, but it's in there in the original bag from Atlanta. So here I go. Thumbelina. There once was a lonely woman who longed for a child. She asked the witch who lived in the village land was known to solve problems such as this to give her the gift of a child. The witch said she would, and she handed the woman a tiny seed. But how, the woman began. Trust me, the witch said. Take this seed and plant it in the garden outside your house. All it requires is a little love. The woman did as she was told. Quickly, the seed grew into a green stalk that blossomed into a bud. And I think I remember this story a little bit. The woman waited patiently, eager to see what would happen when the flower bloomed. When the petals opened, there was a tiny baby girl nestled inside. The woman picked up the girl and carefully held her in her hand. She was no bigger than her thumb and thus was named Thumbelina. Time passed and Thumbelina grew older, but she never got any bigger than her mother's thumb. One day, as Thumbelina napped in a walnut shell, a toad passed by. My, that tiny girl would make a perfect wife for my son, he thought. The toad scooped up the sleeping girl, shell and all, and brought her to the river. Thumbelina woke up to find herself far away from home in a strange place surrounded by toads. My dear girl, I would like you to meet your new husband, the tallest toad said, gesturing to the toad beside him. Husband? I'm not marrying you, Thumbelina cried. She ran from her walnut shell bed to the edge of the water. The fish swimming nearby had heard her cries. They offered her a lily pad on which to cross the river. We'll help you, they said. Thumbelina gratefully jumped on. A friendly butterfly pulled the lily pad down the stream until Thumbelina spotted a good place to stop. On shore, Thumbelina thanked the kind fish and butterfly and set off on her own. That night, she made herself a bed out of grass and drank dew from the leaves. There was a cornfield nearby with plenty of food to eat. Thumbelina realized that she was perfectly content living in the cornfield. Then the weather grew colder. Usually, when winter came, Thumbelina would live inside a warm house. She didn't know what to do when the corn stopped growing and her makeshift bed was covered with snow. She wandered deeper into the cornfield, and just as she was about to give up hope, she tripped on the edge of a hole and tumbled inside. At first, Thumbelina was frightened, but then she stood up and she saw that she was in a well lit tunnel. And who might you be? A friendly voice said. It was a mouse and his wife. Thumbelina introduced herself and asked for some shelter. Stay with us as long as you need to, the mouse wife said. They offered her a bed in which to sleep and food to eat. In exchange, she helped them clean their home. One afternoon, the mice asked her to come visit their neighbor, the mole. They explained that the mole was very rich and powerful, and he lived underground all of the time. Thumbelina knew it was important to the mice that she impressed the mole. She sat with him and told him the story of her journey. He listened intently and was fascinated by her. Come, said the mole, let me show you my tunnels. The mole led the mice and Thumbelina through the tunnels until they came upon a sparrow, lying motionless near the opening to the outside world. Stupid bird, the mole said, serves him right for entering my tunnel. Thumbelina was shocked that the mole could be so cruel. That night, she sneaked away from the mice's home to visit the bird. She knelt next to him and lay a quilt on his stiff body. But when she held him to give him a hug, she felt a heartbeat. He wasn't dead, he was just cold. The sparrow opened his eyes and thanked Thumbelina. Hello, Sandra. And thanks up Thumbelina for saving him. The winter passed and the mole grew more and more enamored of Thumbelina. She was always polite and never wanted to offend him. He took this to mean that she was in love with him. Thumbelina preferred to spend her time with the sparrow, who was still regaining his strength. When the mole asked Thumbelina to marry him, she wept. I don't want to marry him, she told the mice. Don't be silly, they said. He's rich and rules all these tunnels. Why wouldn't you want to marry him? When she told the sparrow how she felt, he was much more sympathetic. Fly away with me, he said. I am healed now. He flapped his wings and hovered a few inches off the ground to shore. But Thumbelina couldn't leave. The mice have been so kind to me. They saved my life. That day she said farewell to her friend and the sparrow and watched him fly into the spring sky. Summer came and her wedding day finally arrived. Reluctantly, Thumbelina put on her dress. She walked alongside the tunnels, wanting one last peek of the sun through the opening above. I suppose that once I'm married to the mole, I won't ever see the sky or sun again, she said. As she climbed up to the tunnel, a shadow approached from overhead and swooped down next to her. It was the sparrow. Hop on, he said. Thumbelina knew she wasn't meant to live underground and marry the mole. She jumped on the sparrow's back and gave a silent goodbye to her mice friends below. The sparrow carried Thumbelina over the fields and into the biggest and brightest garden she had ever seen. I live in the tree over there, he said. I will come and visit you when I came. Thumbelina found a nice flower just her size that she could call home. How long had it been since she had last slept in a flower? When she opened the petals, she was met with a surprise. A boy wearing a crown was inside, and he was just her size. He introduced himself as the king of the tiny people. One by one, the flowers around her opened up and revealed a whole garden filled with tiny people. The king offered Thumbelina a gift to welcome her to the kingdom, a pair of wings. Now, Thumbelina was free to fly to the sparrow's tree to visit whenever she liked. She had finally found her home. Man, I never realized that. Hi, Miss Barlow. That Thumbelina was all over the place like that. So my biggest takeaway for Thumbelina is sometimes we can keep things that are very near to us captive. not allowing it to breathe, not literally, but not giving it enough space. Sometimes kids, as and adults, we have friends and we say, I want you to play with me and no one else. And guess what? We have to share everything in life, even the air we breathe. So, guys, next Tuesday, as I said, I'll be in Hampshire Fernet as the Statue of Liberty, other known as Lady Liberty. Yes, it was a good book. Thank you, Erica and Alex. So I'll see you guys live next Tuesday. Not sure what book, that'll be a surprise, but I hope to see you all there and share this live. And know that if nobody else tells you, Dr. George loves you. Have a great day. And Alex, I will get your gift to you. I promise. I've been holding it this long. I can hold it forever. Good night, guys. Love you guys. Good night.